Hi children, welcome to our first topic activities week. In this video we're going to go through some of the activities that you can do in the afternoons as part of your learning. Each week there'll be a different theme and we're going to start with the theme all about one of our favourite things, which is our school, which is called Brindley Heath. We are Brindley, that's our theme. And all the activities this week will link to Brindley Heath and our school values. There are a series of activities you can complete. You don't have to do them all. You can pick and choose what appeals to you. If you've got siblings at home, you're more than welcome to complete them in pairs or threes. And they're quite open in terms of you can present your work for this how you want. All that we do ask is that you try your very, very best with it and think about the way we do our work in our Be Proud books. Like take real pride in what you're doing. We're going to talk through the different activities now. And you can have a think as you're listening as to what sort of activity would appeal to you.
Okay, activity 1 is to design a new building for Brindley. So on the screen there we've got some different building designs. The main idea for this activity is that you're drawing and setting out what the inside of the building would look like. But if you want to have a go at drawing the outside of the building, you can do as well. So our keys to success are to use straight lines, to use labels, so label the different rooms within your building. So in the pictures on the screen there, we've got some different rooms labelled, for example, the head teacher's office, the staff room, the hall or dining room, changing rooms, medical room. You might want to label the playground. When you're drawing your different rooms, we want you to think carefully about the size of the rooms. So the hall will be most likely the biggest room in your school, and other rooms will be smaller. So for example, your toilets I would expect to be far smaller than the hall. So think about the size or scale when you are constructing your drawing. We've given you some suggestions of things you might want to include. So you might want to include classrooms, or I'd hope you'd include classrooms, toilets, the hall, outside areas, a computer room, a library, an entrance hall, and meeting rooms. Now, those are just the basic things that we think you'll need to include, but you might have lots of other ideas of what you would want to include in a new design for Brindley. So that might be things in the outdoor spaces. For example, you might have climbing frames or tree houses. You might have other ideas of what you could have out there, but you also might want to include your own special rooms. Do you want to create a special reading room, for example? So we're giving you a bit of freedom here to design a new and amazing Brindley Heath. As I said at the beginning, you might want to do the outside of the building as well, and that's completely fine.
Okay, activity 2 is slightly different. It's to design or create your own Brindley Values shield or Brindley Values crest. And there's some examples on the screen there of some different shields and crests of different schools and places. And obviously a crest is designed to represent a place through imagery and some words. In order to do that, you really need to think about our 4 school values. The first one's to be proud. And that's something we talk about in school all the time, being proud of who you are, being proud of your school, being proud of your learning, and taking real pride in everything that you do. And we know that as children we work with day in, day out, you do that all the time. The second one is obviously being resilient. And being resilient is keeping going even when the going gets tough and when things are difficult. And I think it speaks for all of us at the minute how difficult times have been recently. Obviously going into home learning isn't ideal for anyone, and you're showing resilience straight away by quickly adapting to that and doing your best all the time. Being respectful is about the way that you treat other people and showing kindness and caring attitude and showing respect to everyone that you meet, no matter who they are. And again, having worked at this school for a long time now, every child I come across shows great respect at all times. Being aspirational is the final one. And this is where being aspirational is all about wanting to be the very, very best that you can be. Whether it's you want to be a doctor when you're older and you've got this aspiration to go and be a doctor, or whether it's what you want to do well in your learning or to learn your times tables by the end of the year, it's having goals and targets that you want to achieve. So there are 4 values, and you need to try and think of pictures or images or words or phrases that could represent those values. I've put in brackets there, be Brindley and Heath, be you, because that's also part of our values as well, and you might want to incorporate that into your shield or your crest. You could include the school name. You don't need to. You could include the school motto. You could even try and draw the school badge if you wanted to and put that in there. And obviously you've got to keep it neat and tidy. The different examples, they've got slightly different designs for how the shield or the crest is designed. The bottom one I quite like, where it's just got the wording written in really nice in lettering with some neat colouring. I think those of you, a bit like me, into your football, you might think about football badges and how they're designed, and think about how you can recreate that for Brindley Heath. Okay.
Activity 3 is to create a leaflet for our school. So on the slide at the moment, we've got some pictures of leaflets for different schools. Now, Brindley Heath at the moment doesn't have its own leaflet, so we would like you to try and create one for us. In a leaflet, you've got a front cover demonstrating the name of the school, but it also, within the leaflet, you will have different sections. So we have given you some suggestions of what you could include in that leaflet. So you could have a section, why is Brindley great? And where you could tell the reader all about what makes Brindley so good. Remember, the person reading this probably doesn't know much about our school, so you're really going to have to tell them all about it. You could also have a section, what can you do here? What would you recommend? What are the people like? So that could include the staff and the other children from our school. And where is Brindley located? So you'll need to tell the reader, remember they don't know much about our school, where our school is. You might even want to include a little map in that section to show where our school is located. A leaflet is bright and colourful. Again, we want you to be neat and tidy and have pride. This shouldn't be a 5-minute job. This will take you quite a long time to do properly. We'd suggest drafting out your writing before you go straight into your leaflet. Think carefully about what you're going to put in there. Draft it out on paper or in your writing book first. Edit it, go back, make changes, and then put it into your leaflet. Now, your leaflet could be created on paper, and you could think about folding it in the way that some of those leaflets in the pictures are folded. It could just be folded in half, like the bottom leaflet, or you might want to fold it into 3 sections, like the top ones. You could also create it using Microsoft Publisher or Microsoft Word. They've got some great templates for leaflets on there. So I know some of you love your computers and are really good with those, so you could create it using that. In your leaflet, you're going to want to have headings. You need the name of the school, but you're also going to want to have headings and subheadings for the different sections. So think carefully about how you can display those really, really clearly, and what pictures you can include in your leaflet too.
Okay, activity number 4, something slightly different. We thought those of you that like your music or like your English with poetry could have a go at this one. The idea is to create either an anthem or a song or a rap or some sort of poem all about Brindley Heath. It could even be like the Brindley Heath, the anthem for Brindley Heath, as using the school values. So on the side there, you've got together as an acrostic poem, saying trying our best, obeying the rules, getting our work done, expressing our ideas, thinking kind thoughts, helping others, enriching our minds and respecting each other. So there's an example of an acrostic poem all about the word together. You could do one for Brindley or for Brindley Heath. Think about the school values, and if you're feeling adventurous, you could try and use rhyming in it to make it all flow all the way through. If you're that way inclined, you could have a go at doing a rap, or if you're particularly musical, you could try doing a song. I think the important thing is to think about the school, the values of the school, and then you can present it in different ways. You could do it on paper with drawings. You could write it out on a computer if you wanted to, or if you're particularly musical, you could try and record it, record yourself singing, or even try and include some instruments if you can play an instrument. So it's a real good chance to be nice and creative, and I really look forward to seeing what you come up with for that one.
And our final activity, activity 5, is to create a Brindley quiz or a Kinver quiz. Now, I'm sure those in Year 6 know that I love a quiz. So we want you to come up with your own quiz this time, all about Brindley. So question types, think about who, what, where, when, how. You could include multiple choice questions, you could include true or false questions. I'd say for a quiz you want a minimum of 10 questions, but you might be able to come up with lots of different questions. So you might even want to break them down into sections. You might have questions about the teachers, you might have questions about the building, you might have questions about the school day. So there's lots of different things that you can do with this. Similarly, you could also come up with a quiz about Kinver as well, again using those same ideas and question types: who, what, where, when and how. And to be able to do that, you might actually have to do a little bit of research into Kinver and find out a bit about the history of Kinver and where things are, and what famous people might have lived here. Once you've created your quiz, again, you can present it in any way. It might just be a simple piece of paper or note in your book, or some of you are particularly good with PowerPoint, and you might use PowerPoint to create your quiz. And you could test your family once you've created it. You could test your family. You could even test your friends and see if they know the answers to your questions in your quiz, especially if you come up with some particularly tricky ones. So I hope you enjoy that activity.